welcome to Gaston Spotlight. I'm Abigail Acquire, and today's guest is the Program Chair for Information Technology, Kelly Hinson. Welcome, Kelly. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for asking me to do this.
Of course. Can you tell us a little bit about the programs you oversee?
Yes, we have 4 programs under Information Technology. Programming and Web Development is one, Web Administration and Design, Information Systems Support, and then, of course, the ever-popular Networking and Cybersecurity track.
Okay, cool.
And we call them all tracks.
Tracks. Okay, nice. What can you tell us about the exciting new changes to these programs?
Well, they've all had updated curriculum because, as you know, technology changes all the time. So we are constantly watching to see what's coming down the pike and what businesses think they're going to need so that we can make the changes to the curriculum for students. But one of the unique things about our program is within the first semester, the required courses are the same for all 4 tracks, and they give opportunity for students to learn about what's in all 4 tracks. And therefore, suppose they decide they've registered under programming and web development, and they discover in the first programming class that they don't like that.
Right.
They've not lost anything because that course is required no matter which track they go into. So then they can maybe switch over. Maybe they like web development better. So they move into web administration and design over programming.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it's a neat way to lay out courses for students and also for us, because we can watch what they're doing and how they're doing and then go back and say, maybe you need to think about this track over the one that you've applied or in currently.
Whatever suits them the best.
Yes,
exactly.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
cool.
yeah.
And I know cybersecurity is a new program at the college. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, we are recognized by the national, it's national NSA. National Security
of
the federal government.
Cool.
So it's kind of in coordination with that. They have cyber academic excellence centers, of which we are part of that, which also means we are also part of what is called the Carolina Cyber Network, which is just in North Carolina. I believe North Carolina has the most schools as part of the CAE. So this whole program was designed because we have a shortage of workers in cybersecurity, which is an ever-exploding field.
Yes.
It's in the news all the time, breaches,
Absolutely.
and we don't have people coming along that can do those jobs. So as part of the federal government promoting these jobs, they've developed all this all the way down to community college, even high schools sometimes. And then community colleges and 4-year colleges can have this award for academic excellence in cybersecurity, which we have, but also there are other 4-year colleges that have this also. But it's just a way to develop the work pipeline that we're in shortage of. But we've also updated other programs. So we've updated software development, and it's now software and web development. And so students can do some programming, but they get a little bit of the web side also. So in essence, a front end and a back end of a system. What the user sees is the front end, the back end is where the processing occurs.
Right, okay.
So they get to do both. And then the courses merge enough with web administration and design that they could do both. It might take 3 years instead of 2, but they have that option to kind of merge it, merge it together. So web administration and design, they focus on maintaining websites, also compliance with Disability Act called ADA. So you have to make sure when you launch a website that if it's public, it has to meet certain requirements by the federal government. So some of that's talked about also.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It's a different concept. And you know, because we've traveled abroad together, but other countries have different and stricter rules, especially where we were in Ireland. They're part of the European Union. So they have a whole different set of what's allowed for web business or mobile business versus the United States. So these programs now, we have components in them that allow students to sort of reflect on that and what that might mean, even if they're working here, but say it's for a company in Germany. So there might be different requirements based on where the company is launching business.
Absolutely, they have different standards. Well, that curriculum sounds so comprehensive, and it's so important for students to have that literacy.
It is, it's very important. And then we have the fourth program is actually like a help desk or help desk technician program. And it aligns very closely with the networking and cyber program. However, a lot of times students will pick the information support track because they're not sure what they want to do.
Right.
And it kind of gives you a little bit of everything in there.
Dip
so
your
it makes
toes
it more
into it.
general.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But also what happens when students need work experience, even if they're in networking and cyber, their initial work experience usually is at a help desk.
There you go, yeah.
Because they have to get in the door, and
Right.
that's usually the entry-level position.
Makes a lot of sense.
Right, so they
They're all
come
set for
in
that.
and they get that experience, and maybe they're working on computers, repairing computers, installing software, and that ties into all their network experience that we do in cybersecurity. Because if you can't protect the network, you don't have good cybersecurity
Right,
in place.
absolutely.
So you have to understand the network
The
before
basics
you can
of
go.
it.
Exactly.
Very
You have
cool.
to, yes.
And yeah, it's never been more important for students to learn technological skills. I myself just got hacked recently.
Oh, no.
So what are your students, or what kind of students are you looking for?
That is an excellent question. I look for students who want to think and critically analyze how to solve a problem. You cannot be in IT and just have a look up the answer mentality.
Right.
Every network, they'll have basic components the same, but there are also specifics maybe to that institution or business, right? People who program, you might be called on to support an old program, so you have to have detective skills if there's a problem.
Right.
Right? You have to look and solve. So the answers are not something you can cut and paste out of a document or a book. You have to study them, you might have to go research, and you can't always ask your coworker how to solve it. They might not know. And a good example is that I am over specifically down in the details of the programming track. I am not in the weeds of the networking and cyber track. That's a
Right.
different skill. It's a similar skill set, but it's a different knowledge base to do that. So I can't always do it myself, and they might not know the answer. So you have to know who to ask, but also, okay, if you don't know it, where do I go next?
Right.
Right? Also, you have to be kind of strategically able to design things. So I use a lot of flow charting with students so that they can visually see how a program works, but it works for networking or web design too, if you think about
Yeah.
it. Drawing the picture out and putting the components where you think they should go.
Got you. That's so helpful because it's such a very abstract concept. So I'm sure
It is.
that's a very good way to see the flow of things.
It is. I find it helpful.
Yeah, well, for sure. And I know you've worked hard to offer certificates to students. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, I can. So specifically this year, and hopefully always going forward, but you always have that first year that you're trying everything out. So we have certificates that are industry recognized for students, and they're tied into certain courses. So for instance, the upper level Java class I teach, those students will have the opportunity to sit for the Java industry recognized certification test with us at Gaston.
Okay.
And at this time, those opportunities are offered for free to students.
Oh, wow.
At some point, there'll probably be a fee attached, but it's the first time out. So we're trying to get students to recognize how important industry certifications are.
Yes.
Especially in networking and cybersecurity area.
Right. Anything you can add to that resume to set you apart.
Exactly. So you want to be able to put that on your resume that you did that.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Preparing students for success in the future.
So that's our whole focus.
Yeah.
Is hopefully get you a job once you leave us.
Right. Okay, very cool. And almost exactly a year ago, we were talking about this. I was one of the students who had the privilege of going on a study abroad adventure with you, and I cannot emphasize enough how wonderful the experience was. Can you tell us more about your work with study abroad and global education?
Thank you for asking about that. Getting students on a study abroad trip was something I had in the back of my head for years, almost since when I first came here. I've been here over 15 years now. But working through the mechanics of that is a little daunting.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was very time involved. But we paired up with Study Abroad Ireland, which is, I've done 2 trips, professional development there, and we've taken students twice now with them. It's a very economical program, as we all worry about money.
Definitely.
All of us do. Nobody I know has unlimited funds for traveling, right?
Right, absolutely.
So they try to keep the costs down. They especially approach American community college students because it's an underserved population for study abroad travel. But the benefit of going out of the country is really becoming aware of how they see Americans, how we see them, and getting that view that's not just North Carolina or Gaston County.
Absolutely.
Right? And getting to go on a plane for the first time. We've had students who've never been on a plane that get on a plane the first time. Navigating an airport. All those are skills that you might need in business one day because we do live in a global economy, right?
Ever globalized world, yes.
We do,
yes.
we do. And you can go, well, I'll give an example. The doctor's office. You might have, your doctor might be American, but of Asian descent. And they might have different, you know what I'm saying? They have different, they might have a different outlook.
Different perspectives culturally.
Yes,
yeah,
because
absolutely.
they grew up in a different culture. So it's just giving awareness. Also, those trips, you can put on a resume.
Yes.
We need those. Resume building items, but we want students to be able to say, I went on a study abroad trip and these are the things I learned. And I had to learn how to adjust to a time zone, adjust to a different money base, adjust to different foods, which you think that sounds fun and maybe basic. But I had a student on a trip who was absolutely thrown over the food.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Just, that was not his food. He had never eaten fresh seafood or whatever. I think their food's wonderful, but he had a different perspective of it. So learning that everything isn't what we do here.
Right. It's deeper than just food. It's about the way of life. Yeah.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is. So those trips are very important, and I do hope that we'll go again to Ireland with the Study Abroad Ireland because it's just such a cost savings for students. It's also confidence building because they speak English.
Right.
Although they might have a few different words, you know, but money is similar but different enough that you still have to do like a conversion if you pay attention to that. But yeah, I think that the college does other trips. We did Germany. They just got back from Switzerland in May, I believe. There's lots of opportunity, but I don't think personally you find a better trip than the Ireland trip.
I am partial to agree, yes.
Yes.
Well, I truly did have the greatest time, and I'm really grateful to educators like yourself who make those possible for students like myself.
Yes, yes.
And lastly, can you give us some cybersecurity tips?
I can. I do wish we had our new cybersecurity director here because she would do a better job at this. However, one of the first things is don't share your password. Don't share it. People do it all the time. Write it down here, just log in as me. We have students who will say, I don't see such and such in my Blackboard course. Here's my login. Can you see?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Let's not do that. Let's not write our password down where somebody knows where it is. Now, I'm going to confess, I have to write some of mine down because you have accounts everywhere now, right?
And they all require different.
Yes, they do. And truly, you don't want to use the same password on all your accounts, which most people do anyway.
Guilty, yeah.
Yes, and I'm guilty of it. So you want, if you can, just get a password manager program it keeps track of your passwords, and all you have to know is the password to that.
Oh, okay.
And
Very
that
helpful.
will keep track. Yes, it's a great way to kind of secure things like that. But other than that, common sense. If there's an email coming and you really don't know who it's from, don't answer. Don't reply. Don't click on it. I think the uptick in text messaging that is scamming you
Yes.
is really something to be aware of. So when it says the UPS driver's trying to contact
when
you,
I get a lot,
yeah,
yeah.
I get that all the time. Just delete it.
Right.
They're not trying to contact
No,
you that
no,
way
no.
at all. Amazon has a lot of people who use it to scam. They'll text you, but it's not Amazon. It's someone
Amazon,
who
yeah.
pretends to be Amazon, and they'll tell you your account's been compromised, and call us. But when you call, it's really not Amazon. They're going to
Right.
say they're Amazon, but they're not.
And the hackers have gotten very intelligent.
They're very intelligent. And also the scary thing is with artificial intelligence coming along, and it's going to be everywhere.
Right.
But the scary part is I'm afraid at some point very soon you're not going to be able to tell the difference between what's real and what was artificially generated.
I'm afraid you're right. Yeah.
So-
Well, thank you so much. That was very, very helpful. I'm going to have to look into the password account manager.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yes, that's
Very
what it's called,
cool.
password account manager. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Kelly. And don't forget to give us a follow on Instagram at Gaston Spotlight. I'm Abigail Acquire, and this has been Gaston Spotlight.